I'm Kevin Cranmer, and I will be talking about video conferencing and video streaming. I want to start with going into a little bit of background in the technology that makes all this possible. So that'll be a little computer networks information. Then I want to go into the two, video conferencing and streaming, talk about why they're different, what they require, and then what's a presentation without a little fun prediction at the end. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on the transport layer of the OSI model. You don't really need to know what that is, but basically there are two protocols, TCP and UDP, that are responsible for getting your information from one place to another. TCP is the connection-oriented and reliable version. So to use TCP, they have to set up a connection, do this SYN, SYNAC, ACK, which is called the three-way handshake, and it's basically the client saying, hey, I want a connection, and the server saying, okay, yeah, let's connect, and this client saying, okay, cool, and then they can send information back and forth. And you'll see they say hello, and when the server replies, they say howdy with an ACK, which means they acknowledge every packet that is sent, and the client knows that the packet was received if it receives an acknowledgement. If it doesn't, then it knows to resend it, so the data will always be eventually received, which is what that reliable part is. UDP, on the other hand, is connectionless and unreliable, which means they don't do that acknowledgement and they don't do the checking, they don't set up a connection. So you can just send hello and howdy, but you have no idea whether or not it was received. So UDP sounds like a bad thing, why would you ever use it? But actually it's a lot faster because you don't have to wait for the acknowledgement, you don't have to set up a connection, you don't have to close a connection. It's just a lot faster. So video streaming. Video streaming, you usually want the entire video, and it's okay to miss a couple frames because you understand the media that's being presented even if you miss a couple things, and you want it quick. And for those reasons, it was originally UDP. YouTube back in 2006 or something, I think, when it used Flash, it was using UDP to transport videos because it was okay to miss frames and you just wanted it fast. But nowadays, that the internet's a lot faster, they use TCP. They've built up some other protocols like the ones listed there to make video transport possible over TCP, which means you'll be able to receive the entire video securely and it'll for sure get there. And then, so actually what it does is it downloads the video onto your browser and plays it at the same time. And it's able to do that with TCP, and it does it pretty well. Video conferencing, on the other hand, um, it's more than okay to miss a couple frames. In fact, it's okay to miss entire seconds of data as long as you can catch back up to the most up-to-date version, because you're in a conversation. You don't care about what has happened. You can just say like, what'd you say, or something, and get it back. So you just want to be as up to date as possible, and you want it as fast as possible. For that reason, video conferencing has used UDP and still uses UDP. They have some other little protocols on top of UDP to kind of do the checks and balances and make sure that they're not sending too much data or too high of a bit rate if they need to slow down or anything. So RTP, SRTP, and RTCP are protocols used by FaceTime, and I was able to find that out as actually true. The other ones, I can't, it's tough to find the actual protocols of these because technically they're intellectual property, so they're not just given out to the public. Snapchat, though, is so generally it's believed that all of these use UDP from reading online. However, my own experience in Snapchat is when the connection is poor and then it becomes better eventually, all the video that I missed gets played fast forward until it catches up to real time. This implies that it was TCP because it reliably made sure I got all that data, whereas UDP would just skip that whole thing and just cut to as up to date as possible as soon as it makes the connection again. Or not connection because it's connectionless, but becomes up to date. So for that reason, with how Snapchat's doing it now, I think that in the future, once the internet gets faster, broadband now says that the nation's only 25% covered by fiber optics. So I think once that number increases and the internet gets a lot faster, that video conferencing will switch to TCP, because I think that the advantage of UDP, which is primarily just speed, will be minuscule, and then the advantage of TCP, which is the reliability, will always be present. And because of that, because it's always there and speed will be diminished as the internet just gets faster, TCP will be the primary one for even video conferencing, and they'll make the switch similar to how video streaming did. Here are my references, and thank you for listening.